Hi all my dear students, welcome to Sri Jendra Rank Zone classes and I am your science faculty Amit Ajmani, and in this lecture we will continue the chapter that we have started in the previous class. The chapter is acids, bases and salts. In the previous lecture I told you about all the details related to the acids. That was the first part of this chapter. In today's lecture, we will be discussing about bases as to what exactly are bases, what are the various types of bases, and about their properties. I hope that you all have already gone through the acids part and you have practiced all the reactions that I specially asked you to do, the reactants and the products. You should know that. So with all that knowledge, let us try to do bases, because we'll be comparing a few things when we are talking about bases as compared to acids. What are bases? Bases are the chemical substances which have bitter taste. Acids had sour taste, bases have bitter taste, and they are soapy to touch. They are very soft to touch. One of the most important characteristic property of bases is that all the bases, they convert the color of red litmus to blue. Now, as I have already told you that a base is opposite to acid, so the bases can be used to neutralize the acids. Now, all the metal oxides and metal hydroxides are bases. All the metal carbonates and metal hydrogen carbonates, they are also considered to be bases, because all of them neutralize the acids. Now, these bases, if they are soluble in water, we know that water soluble bases are also called alkalis. Examples: sodium hydroxide, that is NaOH; potassium hydroxide, that is KOH; calcium hydroxide, that is CaOH whole twice; ammonium hydroxide, NH4OH; magnesium hydroxide, MgOH whole twice. They all are soluble in water. That is why they are called alkalis. Now, quite important thing to remember is all the alkalis are bases only, but all the bases can't be alkalis, because all the bases can not be soluble in water. Examples of few insoluble bases in water are like copper oxide, zinc oxide, iron oxide. These are insoluble bases in water. You need to remember two or three examples of insoluble bases also. Now, what exactly all the bases have in common? The common thing among all the bases is that whenever a base is dissolved in water, it always produces hydroxyl or hydroxide ions, OH negative ions. This is a characteristic of base. Remember when we talked about acids? Acids always dissociated in water and they liberated hydrogen ions, whereas the bases are the one which dissociate in water and they liberate hydroxide ions. And based on this property only, we categorize the bases into strong bases or weak bases. Now, what are these strong bases or weak bases? We just studied that a base dissolved in water produces hydroxide ions. So if a base is getting completely ionized in water, and if it is producing a large amount of hydroxide ions, then it is called a strong base or a strong alkali. Examples of such strong bases are sodium hydroxide, that is NaOH, and potassium hydroxide, that is KOH. These are strong bases or strong alkalis. But if a base is partially ionized in water, if it is not completely ionized in water, if it is producing a small number of hydroxide ions in water, then in that case it is called a weak base or a weak alkali. For example, ammonium hydroxide NH4OH is a weak base. Calcium hydroxide COH whole twice is a weak base. Magnesium hydroxide MgOH whole twice, this is also a weak base. So just like strong acids and strong and weak acids, we have strong bases and weak bases. The difference is acids were liberating hydrogen ions and the bases are liberating hydroxide ions. You need to remember the examples of strong base and weak base. Now, Arrhenius theory. What exactly Arrhenius said? The same thing. Arrhenius said that Arrhenius acids are those chemical substances which produce hydrogen ions or hydronium ions when mixed with water. And according to him, bases are substances which produce hydroxyl or hydroxide ions when they are dissolved in water. Right? Now, the next property, it's very easy to understand that bases conduct electricity in their solution form. That means they are good electrolytes. Now, quite simple to understand the logic or reason behind it, that when the bases are in their solution form, they will liberate hydroxide ions, and due to the presence of these ions they will simply conduct electricity, right? So it is the dissociation of bases in water to produce hydroxide ions, due to which they are able to conduct electricity. Fine. Now, talking about their reaction with metals, only a few bases react with some metals to liberate hydrogen gas and form salt, just like acids. Now, this is the fourth time that I am giving reference to acids, and that is why it is always being told to you that you should be in a habit of reading, studying, and learning and practicing side by side as and when you have your class. I understand that most of the times it is possible, but there are certain times when you get some extra work, or you have certain test, or you have certain important urgent work, or any kind of emergency in your house. That is okay, that is acceptable. But otherwise, if you are not doing it just because you are wasting your time in some other thing, then it becomes wrong. You have been studying for the past quite some time now, you have taken many classes, and you know that I always advise you people, and I always stress on the importance of studying on a daily basis. If you are doing it on a regular basis, you will be very much confident, you will be able to relate the next class like this we have taken, and importantly it will never ever create a burden on your shoulder or on your head. In the previous class we talked about the acids. Those students who have studied and done everything related to acids, they will be now very easily able to compare as to how the acids and bases are altogether opposite, in what sense they are same. Difference is that acids have sour taste, bases have bitter taste. Difference is acids convert blue litmus to red, whereas bases convert the red litmus to blue. Difference is acids liberate hydrogen ions in water, whereas bases liberate hydroxide ions in water. Similarity is that acids react with metals to form salt and water, salt and they liberate hydrogen gas. Similarly, bases also react with certain metals, not all the metals, not all the bases. They react with certain metals and they form salt and liberate hydrogen gas. This is very, very important reaction because of this. What is this? Let us see. NaOH. This is sodium hydroxide. This is also known as caustic soda. This is a base. When it reacts with Zn, zinc metal. Now, the reaction takes place and we have got sodium zincate. The formula is quite important. Na2ZnO2. This is sodium zincate, a salt, and it liberates hydrogen gas. Got it? So the name and the formula of sodium zincate is very important. Please learn it thoroughly. Next reaction is just same as that of acids. In acids, we have studied that whenever an acid and base react, they will neutralize each other. They will form salt and water. So this is the property we have studied in acids. The same property will be studying in bases. That when a base reacts with an acid, then salt and water are formed. Right? For example, again, NaOH, which is our most common base, sodium hydroxide, also known as caustic soda, when it reacts with H2SO4, which is our sulfuric acid, then double displacement reaction will take place. It will form sodium sulfate, which is a salt, along with water. Now, since the acids and bases are opposite to each other, so whenever they react with each other, they neutralize the effect of each other. And that is why the reaction between an acid and a base is called neutralization reaction. We have studied in the previous lecture also. There I told you that in bases we'll study in detail about neutralization reaction. So here we are with the bases. Let us study in detail. Why exactly they neutralize each other? The reason is we know that all the acids produce hydrogen ions in their solution form. And we have just studied that bases produce hydroxide ions in their solution form. So when these bases are combined, then these hydrogen ions are liberated by acids. Hydroxide ions are liberated by bases, and they both, when combined together, they form water. So these hydrogen ions are neutralized by the hydroxide and vice versa. Hydroxides are neutralized with the help of these hydrogen ions. That is why a salt is formed, and this is called neutralization reaction. Exactly same process takes place when the bases react with non-metal oxides. Now these non-metal oxides are acidic in nature. So ultimately we are reacting the bases again with acids, and the result, the byproduct will be same, that is salt and water. Let us take an example. We take a base calcium hydroxide. We react it with a non-metal oxide like carbon dioxide. When they react with each other, they will form calcium carbonate, which is a salt, and along with it, water will be produced. Fine. These bases, just like acids, are also corrosive in nature. They are also the strong bases. They are highly corrosive. So these are a few chemical properties of bases. Got it? Now let us try to relate the uses of bases. Sodium hydroxide, the most common base and the most important one. It is used in a variety of areas. It is used in the manufacture of soaps, paper, synthetic fiber called rayon is also made by sodium hydroxide. Then calcium hydroxide, which we also called slag lime, it is used in the manufacturing of bleaching powder. Don't worry, you will have to study this bleaching powder in quite some detail in the same chapter, in this chapter only. So we'll discuss about it. Magnesium hydroxide, if you remember, we use this term. It is used as an antacid to neutralize the excess acid in our stomach and to cure indigestion. And this magnesium hydroxide, it is also commonly called with the name. What was that name? If you somebody remember, milk of magnesia. Milk of magnesia is nothing but magnesium hydroxide. Next is sodium carbonate. This sodium carbonate is used as washing soda. It is also used for softening hard water. Next, sodium hydrogen carbonate. This is very important compound. It is used as baking soda in cooking food. It is used for making baking powders. It is used as an antacid along with magnesium hydroxide. This is also a very important antacid to cure indigestion. And it is used in soda acid fire extinguishers. These all you will be studying in this chapter only in detail. So there are a wide uses of bases, right? Now we studied about acids and bases. Let us talk about the strength of acids and base solutions. We have talked about strong acids, weak acids, strong bases, weak bases. So how strong? How weak? What is the strength? That we'll be studying, and that is measured through pH scale. It is not misprinted. P small, H capital. This is the way we write it. Now when we talk about water, water is a neutral substance. When we ionize water, then this water is slightly ionized into hydrogen ions and hydroxide ions. So, when we talk about pure water, the concentrations of hydrogen ions and hydroxide ions are equal. And because they are equal and opposite in nature to each other, due to this property, pure water is neither acidic nor basic. It is always neutral, right? Now, if we add some acid in pure water, we know that acids will produce hydrogen ions in water. So it means that when an acid is added to water, then the concentration of hydrogen ions in water will increase. So an acid solution will have more hydrogen ions and less of hydroxide ions. That is why it is acidic in nature. But the opposite of it is when we add base in water, these bases will obviously produce hydroxide ions. So whenever a base is added to water, then the concentration of hydroxide ions increases. It will have more of hydroxide ions and less of hydrogen ions, and that is why it is basic in nature. All this was studied by a very famous scientist, Sorensen. In 1909, he devised a scale which is called pH scale. And through this pH scale, we could find the strength of acid solutions as well as basic solutions. And they are measured in terms of hydrogen ion concentrations. Now let us see what exactly this pH means. pH is nothing but it is the log of hydrogen ion concentration. In this term pH, this small p, it stands for a German word potens, which means power, and letter H is hydrogen ion concentration. So the power of hydrogen ion concentration is pH. It is either written as minus log of hydrogen ions or plus log of reciprocal of hydrogen ions. This is how pH is calculated. Now here we can see that if we relate pH, it is 1 by hydrogen ion. So the pH of a solution is inversely proportional to the concentration of hydrogen ions in it. It is inversely proportional. What does it mean? It means that a solution having a higher concentration of hydrogen ions will have a low pH value, and a solution having low concentration of hydrogen ions will have a high pH value. High concentration of hydrogen ions means the solution is acidic. So the acidic solutions will have low pH values, right? And the basic solutions will have higher pH value. More is the pH value, basic will become the solution. Lesser is the value of pH, more acidic the solution or substance will be. Let us see, this exactly is what was given by Sorensen in 1909. This is a pH scale. You have to very thoroughly and carefully learn this pH scale, understanding each and every concept, because you will definitely get one question out of this. This is very important topic, and for this you have to understand all the relevant details. Let us see what exactly is pH scale. In a pH scale, the values of pH, they are from 0 to 14. So these are the values: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 till 14. Right? Now, according to the pH scale, the substance having pH value 7 in between value, that is considered to be neutral. If any solution has a pH value of 7, it is neutral. The pure water, the distilled water is neutral, so that is why it has a pH of 7. Now, when we add some acid into it, what will happen is two things. Number one, on adding acids, the more acid we add, the more hydrogen ion concentration will be. So on adding the acids, more amount of hydrogen ions will be liberated, due to which hydroxide ion concentration will be decreased. And because pH is the log of hydrogen ions, so the pH value being inversely proportional will decrease. So if 7 is the pH value, it is neutral. But if it decreases from 7, right, we added a small amount of acid, some hydrogen ion concentration was increased, pH value will decrease. So pH value 6, pH value 5, pH value 4, these are weak acids. And if I add more acid into it, then the pH value will decrease to 3, then to 2, then to 1, then to 0. So as we move below 7 in the pH scale, the acidic nature will increase. The pH value 654, they represent weak acids. pH value 3 to 1 are quite strong, and the pH value 0 will be considered to be the strongest acid. Now if we add some base in this neutral substance, neutral solution, then we know that the bases will liberate hydroxide ions. So the hydroxide ion concentration will increase, due to which the hydrogen ion concentration will decrease. And since pH is inversely proportional to hydrogen ion concentration, so that is why if the hydrogen ion concentration is decreasing, the pH value will keep on increasing as we add more and more base to it. So on going above 7, the basic character or the alkaline nature will increase. pH value 8, 9 and 10, they are weak bases or weak alkali. pH value 11, 12, 13, they will be strong bases. And pH value 14 will be the strongest base. Right? So this is what pH scale is. What was given by Sorensen in 1909. Let us try to relate all those things that we have studied, and what you need to remember is, according to the rules of pH scale, all the neutral substances have a pH of exactly 7. The pH of pure water is 7. Now, because pH of 7 means a substance is neutral, so there will be no effect of this substance on any litmus or any other common indicator that we studied, like methyl orange or phenoxylene, etc. in the previous lecture. Clear? So all the substances having pH value 7, no effect on litmus, no effect on any other common indicator. Now, acids have a pH less than 7. So whenever a solution has a pH of less than 7, it means it is an acidic solution. And more acidic is the solution, lower will be its pH value. Why? Because pH is inversely proportional to hydrogen ion concentration. So the solutions having pH of 0, 1, 2, 3, they are considered to be strong acids. And the solutions having pH of 4, 5, 6, they are considered to be weak acid solutions. Right? And since any substance, any solution having pH less than 7 is an acid, therefore they all will turn blue litmus to red. They all will turn methyl orange indicator to red. Fine. Now coming to bases. Now bases or the basic solution will have a pH of more than 7. That means whenever a solution has a pH more than 7, it is quite understood that it is a basic solution. It is an alkaline solution. The more basic is a solution, the higher will be its pH. It means that the solutions having pH value 8, 9 and 10, they are usually weak bases or weak alkalis. And if the solutions have pH value 11, 12, 13, 14, they are usually considered strong bases or strong alkalis. Now, since all the substances with pH more than 7 are basic, they will convert red litmus to blue. What exactly is the property of a base? They convert red litmus to blue. They will turn phenolphthalein indicator to pink. Got it? So this is all about pH scale. Just to sum up, at pH scale, 7 value is the neutral value. It is the neutral. As the pH of solution decreases from 7 to 0, hydrogen ion concentration goes on increasing. Therefore, the strength of acid goes on increasing. Opposite of it is As the pH of solution increases from 7 to 14, now the hydroxide ion concentration goes on increasing, due to which the strength of base goes on increasing. Let us see the pH values of a few common substances. The gastric juices in our stomach, they are highly acidic, pH of 1.4, which helps them in digesting all the material. Lemon juice has a pH of 2.5. Vinegar is 4.0. Tomato juice is 4.1. In soft drinks, the pH is 6.2. It is acidic. Why acidic? Because the reason is we just add carbon dioxide in aerated drinks and water is already present. So this carbon dioxide will dissolve in water and will form H2CO3, that is the carbonic acid, due to which it shows acidic behavior, but it is a weak acid, therefore the pH value is 6. The milk that we drink, it has a pH of 6.5, slightly acidic. Pure distilled water is totally neutral, having pH of 7. Our blood, a bit surprising to know, but it has a pH of 7.4. It is slightly basic. And the toothpaste that we brush our teeth with, they have a pH of 8.0. So these are the pH values of some common substances, right? Now let us try to relate the next topic, which is also quite important, that is universal indicators. Now in pH, we have seen that the pH value will indicate how strong or how weak an acid or a base will be. But important thing is log of concentration of hydrogen ions. How to calculate it? A normal layman doesn't know how to do it. Even the educated people, you people are quite educated, I am quite educated, we don't know if in a particular beaker if some particular chemical substance is given and we are being told to find the pH values, will not be able to do it. So for that we use universal indicator, right? First of all, why we are using universal indicators? Because the common indicators like litmus etc., they tell us whether the given substance is acid or base. Blue litmus to red, red to blue, but they cannot tell us the relative strengths of acid or bases. And in order to get an idea of the same thing, we use universal indicators, which are a mixture of many different dyes or indicators, due to which they give different colors at different pH values of the entire pH scale, right? Now for understanding it, just try to relate Vibgure. We have got 7 colors. This Vibgure we all know, right? Now in the middle we have got this green color, YOR. 3 colors are above green and blue, indigo, violet, 3 colors are below green. So green is in the middle. Similarly, when we talk about the pH values, they range for 0 to 17. We have 0 to 14 pH values. If we try to relate 0 to 14, 7 is in between. 7 values are above it and 7 values are below it, because we are starting not from 1 but from 0. So the green color represents in between, that is the neutral. Now from green, if the color is changing to yellow or orangish or reddish, that means the stronger is the acid. But if it is moving towards blue, indigo or violet, That means now it is a base and it is getting stronger. This is a simple way of remembering the colors of the universal indicator, right? So this is a universal indicator that is being shown here. Green is the 7 pH value, neutral value. Now as we are moving towards yellowish, orangish and reddish color, the solution is more acidic. And if we are going from green towards blue and indigo and violet, more alkaline will the solution will become. So it is very simple now. Just whichever solution you want to check, just put a drop on the universal indicator, wait for some time, and whatever color you will find on that indicator, accordingly you can relate whether it is acid or base, weak acid or strong acid, weak base or strong base, right? So this is how universal indicator works. Now, this pH that we have been talking about through the pH scale, acidic and basic, this pH is very important in our everyday life. How? Let us try to relate the pH in our digestive system. Our stomach, we know it produces hydrochloric acid, which has a pH of 1.4, which helps in digesting our food, but without harming the stomach. Why? Because we have studied in life processes the mucus that coats the stomach lining. Now the problem is that sometimes excess of acid is produced in the stomach. Reasons may be different. Maybe it was because of overeating, right? Any reason. But this excess acid in the stomach, it will cause indigestion, which produces pain and irritation. And what is the remedy? What is the cure for indigestion? How to get rid of pain? Simple, use antacids. That means anti-acids. And what are opposite of acids? Bases. Two antacids we already have seen. Magnesium hydroxide, also known as milk of magnesia, and sodium hydrogen carbonate, which is commonly called baking soda. So these are two common antacids. These are bases. So when we have the problem of indigestion, we take either of these. They will react with the excess acid in the stomach, and being opposite, it will neutralize it. And obviously, the concerned person will get a lot of relief, right? So this pH plays a vital role in our stomach. Next pH importance is it is the cause of tooth decay. Now how pH causes tooth decay? When we eat food, food contains sugar. Now the bacteria which are present in our mouth break down the sugar to form acids such as lactic acid. These acids, they attack the enamel of our teeth and corrode it, which ultimately leads to tooth decay. Now this tooth enamel, you need to learn that it is made up of calcium phosphate. Why we need to learn it? Because this calcium phosphate is the hardest material in our body. But even then, it starts getting corroded when the pH of the mouth gets lower than 5.5, and that is why it causes tooth decay. How to prevent it? Simply clean your mouth, rinse your mouth thoroughly after eating food. We always say that rinses with lots of clean water, and we always should brush our teeth because the toothpaste that we are using, that also contains bases, which is obviously for neutralizing the acid which has been formed already in the mouth. Clear? So this is the second importance of pH. Thirdly, plants and animals are sensitive to pH changes. We know that the plants grow in the soil and they grow best when the pH of the soil is close to 7. If we are adding fertilizers to the soil and due to those the soil becomes too acidic or it becomes too basic, then in that case the plants will grow badly or they will not grow at all, right? Mainly the soil in the field is too acidic, so we need to check the pH of the soil and we need to neutralize it. If we find the soil to be too acidic, then obviously we'll be using some base like quicklime or slake lime or chalk. They are all bases. They will react with the acid in the soil. They will neutralize it. But on the other hand, if the soil is too basic, too alkaline, then in that case, in order to neutralize it, we'll be adding decaying organic matter, manures or compost, because they contain acidic material that is going to neutralize the excess base in the soil. Fine. The pH change and the survival of animals. So many animals, including human beings, we are very sensitive to pH changes, especially the aquatic animals. If the pH of the water it becomes acidic, then in that case the whole range, the whole species of animals, they get disturbed, right? So the whole setup, that is very harmful for these organisms. Next quite important thing is self defense by animals and plants through chemical warfare. Nature has bestowed every organism with some unique things, right? There are many animals and even plants that protect themselves from their enemies by injecting painful and irritating acids and bases into their skin. Example you need to relate that when a honey bee stings a person, we feel so much of pain. Why? Because while stinging, it injects an acidic liquid into the skin. That acidic liquid causes immense pain and irritation to us. Now, since we know that it is an acid which is injected by honeybees, so next time if any bee stings a person, what you need to do is simply rub a mild base. In our houses, we have got normally baking soda. So just rub that baking soda solution on that stung area of the skin. That will give a lot of relief. Now, when a wasp, just like an insect, the wasps are the insects. Now, when they sting us, they inject an alkaline liquid into the skin. So, because they have injected alkaline, when a wasp stings a person, we need to rub a mild acid like vinegar. And if we apply vinegar on the stung area of the skin, it will give relief. Ants, when they sting us, again we find some painful situation. Why? Because they inject an acid called methanoic acid. This methanoic acid is also known as formic acid. So ants, they inject methanoic acid into the skin of the person, which causes burning pain. Again, they have just injected acid in our body. How to neutralize it? By rubbing a mild base like again baking soda. You just rub that baking soda on the affected area, it will provide a lot of relief. Even the plants, example, nettle leaves, they have stinging hair. They also sting and they inject methanoic acid just like ants. The another name for methanoic acid is formic acid. So nettle leaves and the ants, they both inject methanoic acid into the skin of a person. and this acid causes burning pain. Since the nettle sting is acidic, obviously we have to neutralize. How? By rubbing base on it. Base like baking soda, right? So this is how pH is so important. Fine. So this is all about pH, and this is all about acids and bases. But don't become so happy. The chapter is not yet completed. We still have to do the salts. Okay. Which we won't be doing in this session. We'll be taking up next class. But main thing, first of all, brushing up what we did and talked today. We talked about bases. We talked about types of bases, strong and weak bases. We talked about alkalis, that is water soluble bases. Then we studied about the various properties of bases, that they are soapy to touch, they are having bitter taste, then they will convert red litmus to blue. Quite importantly, all the bases have one thing in common, that in water they liberate hydroxide ions, and the substance which liberates more hydroxide ions, that means it gets completely ionized in water, that is a strong base. Examples we have seen. And if a substance ionizes partially and liberates less amount of hydrogen ion, then in that case it is a weak base. Examples we need to know. Then only a few bases react with metals to form salt and water, salt and hydrogen gas. Example, best important thing I have told you, we have studied about Na2ZnO2. Remember what was the name? Sodium zincate. When is it formed? When sodium hydroxide reacts with zinc metal. Next we talked about the neutralization reaction, whether bases are reacting with acids or bases are reacting with non-metal oxides. One or the same thing, because the non-metal oxides are also acidic in nature. So ultimately we are reacting a base with an acid, and the byproducts will be salt and water, and this reaction is called neutralization reaction. Then bases are corrosive in nature. Then we talked about pH scale, Sorensen 1909, scale ranging from 0 to 14. Let me make this scale in order to review it. This is pH value. You need to remember pH value. It is 0 to 14. 7 is neutral, pure water. Below 7, that is 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, acidic character is increasing. Above 7 till 14, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, it is the basic character that is increasing, because pH is inversely proportional to hydrogen ion concentration. Clear? Then we talked about the importance of pH in our everyday life, whether it's talking about indigestion, antacids, milk of magnesia, and baking soda. Find these two antacids, their common name, their chemical names you need to know. You need to remember. Okay. Then we talked about the pH values related to the soil, the plants and animals. Right? If the soil is acidic, how you are going to treat it? If the soil is basic, how you are going to treat it to neutralize it? Then we talked about pH as the cause of tooth decay. Here you need to remember which is the hardest material in our body, that is enamel. What is this tooth enamel made up of? It is made up of calcium phosphate. Clear? And quite importantly, it this pH, these certain acids or bases, they are present in certain plants and animals, the organisms, for their self protection, for their self defense. Right? You need to remember ant sting and nettle leaves, they inject methanoic acid or formic acid. Bees inject acids. So bees, ants, and nettle leaves, all these three inject acids. In order to give relief, we need to apply or rub base. Whereas if a wasp stings, then in that case it injects an alkaline liquid into the skin. So there we have to rub a mild acid like vinegar. Fine. So this is all about acids and bases. Those who have done the acids, very nice. Now start doing bases. Write a few, there are few reactions. Write them up, practice them. And those who have not done the acids part, please make sure that you do the acids parts first. Why? Because after doing acids, you will be able to relate the bases in a much better and much comfortable manner. Fine. So winding up the chapter, ending up the topic here only. Go through it. We'll meet in the next class, in which we'll be starting up with the next topic, that is salts. Till then, all of you enjoy yourself, take care of yourself, keep healthy, keep smiling, keep studying, and thank you so much for being with me. Have a great day, everyone.